flying in, sing for the king.
The game is yours to play now.
The light provides.
This is Eventide Radio.
Hello and welcome back to Eventide Radio. This is a fan-made Destiny podcast where we have roundtable discussions about a variety of different topics concerning the popular video game franchise. At its core, the show is about having in-depth discussions about the game from a variety of different perspectives. I'm host Scott, and with me are my co-hosts Rob and Mapador, and today we kind of have, I guess, a special episode. So Rob had the idea of doing kind of like a retrospective, looking back at Destiny as a franchise over the past 10 years for its 10th anniversary, which I believe is, we're recording this on September 8th. Tomorrow, September 9th, will be its official 10-year anniversary. So,
and that's
just because...
Just to be specific, that's 10 years from the first Eyes Up Guardian, there was kind of the beta and alpha and all that, but when the average person got to experience Eyes Up Guardian for the first time, it'll be 10 years tomorrow.
The official release of the official finished game, I guess, so to speak.
I feel old.
I know.
Sorry, Rob.
No, it's fine.
No, it's not.
So, yeah, it's really not as bad. It's so bad.
So there's been a lot of negativity, we'll say, surrounding Destiny lately. So we thought it would be a good idea to look back in celebration of Destiny, because we do really love this game, no matter what we criticize about it. Looking back over the past 10 years and kind of celebrating what we love most about this game. So we've got a lot to talk about, to say the least, with a whole decade worth of experience with this game. Or for some people, D1 alpha vets, a little more than 10 years.
Yes.
Oh,
but
the D1
so normally
alpha
I would go
vets.
around. Yeah, right. But so normally I would go around the table and, hypothetical virtual table and ask you guys what you've been up to this week in Destiny. But I feel like that'd be, I don't know, a little redundant.
What have you
so
up to in Destiny in the last 10 years?
Yeah.
In the last 10 years. I remember, okay, so here's where I'll start. I remember I think this was middle school for me. And I remember seeing like one of the posters, one of the promotional materials for the game in a brick and mortar GameStop. And there was like, it was just like the Traveler and like the Earth, I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. Like
the classic.
The key art. Yeah. And it looked really cool. It just like piqued my interest. And
It
then
was like, hey, yo, the
underneath
orbs, they piqued my interest.
Yeah. And it said from the creators of Halo and the producers of Call of Duty. And back then, I wasn't allowed to play Call of Duty, but I was allowed to play Halo.
Oh,
And I really ended up being a big fan of Halo, but all the cool kids played Call of Duty. So I was like, oh my god, this is like the marriage of like the two greatest games in history, is what I was thinking at the time. I was like, Destiny is going to be phenomenal. And I was like, little me was hooked on the game just from like the very first like piece of marketing that I saw for it. And then I got it for Christmas.
Oh, he didn't even get it on
And it was
release.
cool, actually.
He didn't get it on release. Boo!
No,
he's
I
not
didn't get it. I didn't even get it on release.
He's a
Boo!
Okay,
fraud.
actually,
He's a phony.
He's a great big phony. Hey, everybody!
yeah, it was Christmas.
This guy's a
I
great
remember
big...
getting. I remember getting the game, and I also, this is gonna be really funny. I didn't have Xbox Live at the time, and I was playing on Xbox. So
were you even allowed to play?
for the whole like first year of Destiny, I didn't. I was only able to like play the campaign, and
You couldn't even do
patrols.
strikes. You can't even do strikes, can you?
I couldn't do strikes. I couldn't
Oh.
do Crucible. I couldn't do anything, and I loved it. It was still
was
awesome.
enough.
It was like my favorite game, and yeah, I barely scratched the surface of the game. It wasn't until I got my PS4 that I actually got to play the rest of it. But yeah, I think it was probably up to. Was it up to Taken King that I just didn't have access
Oh
to?
no!
Like, anything?
Oh no! How did you not do strikes? Like what?
I don't know.
At
Like,
least, like,
I don't know.
I know my history of playing D1 is going to be really fucking weird at first, but like, how up until Taken King did you not? Did you just sit and patrol?
I patrolled.
You sound like my
and I
dad.
played
That's
the
literally what
campaign.
my dad used to do.
I know. I know people who like still do that, which is crazy to me. But yeah, it was kind of a strange
I think you
thing
need to
because
be,
I know a lot of people
those
like.
sorts of people need to be studied.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I was younger, I guess. I mean,
No, but
I
like
was just,
compared to
like,
Patrol now, all you had were occasional public
nothing.
events that you couldn't track, and they were kind of bad. And yeah, patrols.
Yeah.
So that,
Well, I guess you got to put it in my perspective, which was this was like the first game of this type I had ever even remotely experienced in my entire life. And also, I had never had Xbox Live to that point. So just the mere fact that I was able to go into like patrol spaces and see other real
oh
people,
right, yeah.
even if I couldn't interact with them, I thought that was so cool. Like this was like everything was like, I guess, a whole new experience for me. I guess it wasn't so much a testament to the game itself, but just to how new I was to everything.
Yeah.
But it was really cool, and it held my interest somehow. But yeah, I'd like to hear your guys' experience with T1 because I know mine is very unique, considering I didn't really play the game.
Go for
At
it,
least
Map.
play the game, you know,
Yeah.
how most people think.
Do you want to go, Rob?
No, you can go, Map. I want to hear yours.
So, I think my dad played. So he's one of the D1 alpha vets. That was when I think he had it because he had. My dad used to work in the games industry, so he had more connections. I don't even really know the details of the alpha, of how they were handed out. I don't remember, but I didn't watch him play it, but he was telling me a lot about it, and I'd never played, you know, as you say, from the people who made COD and Halo. I'd never played COD and had no fucking idea what the fuck Halo was at all. I still don't. No. No. I mean, yeah, up until that point, the games I'd mostly played were literally just platformers or Pokemon. That was basically it. I fuck knows how, but my dad got his copy of the game early, and I just play it on. I didn't have my own PlayStation, so I just play it on his. But yeah, and then I got progressively more and more and more into it to the point where I played it more than my dad, and then I started doing raids, and then yeah, like I did raids. Like I didn't just spend I did spend a lot of time with Patrol early on. But I could do strikes as well and PvP if I wanted to. Fucking hell, I sucked at PvP. When people tell me like, oh, how did you know, like, it's impossible to get better. It's like, no, you can do it. You can fucking do it. It takes a while, but you can definitely do it. And then I started doing raids. I did VOG and then Crota's End with some of my dad's friends from work. They took me through it. And then I started getting into LFG and doing raids every week, and then by like House of Wolves time, every week I was doing every raid on 3 characters, and you know, Prison of Elders and that.
Yeah, no, I mean, my buddy got like I remember when he kind of showed me the first D1 trailer, and it was like, oh, that's cool, and he's like, that's because he was obsessed with Halo and Bungie. I was like, oh, it's the new IP after Halo Reach. And I was like, oh, this looks cool. And I didn't really follow it or get really into it. And then he kept kind of hyping it up and was like, we got to get we got to get on PlayStation, not Xbox, because it's got exclusive content on PlayStation. Like, all right, cool. Maybe I'll get it. And like, the game came out. I didn't get it. My roommate did, who had it on Xbox, and he started playing it. And I watched him like the night it came out. And I've told this story many, many times, but it was like when I saw that hunters had capes, I was like, all right, I'll get the game. So then I bought a PlayStation like the next day after work, and they still had those white ones that came with a copy of Destiny. So I actually on my desk right now, because I streamed Destiny 1 yesterday, and I still have my like original PS4 copy that has like not for resale on it because it came with the PlayStation. So then I got really into it. Like I took my time going through the campaign. Like I didn't like rush anything. I just kind of played it casually after work because I was working full time already. I was in well, I guess it's not revealing. I was 24 at the time, I guess, or yeah, almost 24. So I had like a full-time job and was working, and so it was just kind of like after work, my buddy would be like, "Oh, you want to play tonight?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And like he like smashed through the campaign and wanted to like already do strikes and stuff. So like I remember when I got to Mars, he's like, "No, we got to finish it." So like we blitzed through it and then just started running like tiger and rock. Yeah, that's the type of bird. Rock strikes or whatever. That's when like strikes had all the different like leveling categories. And we would do Crucible occasionally, and we were both pretty terrible at it, but it was still just kind of fun because it was like, oh, it's like Halo PvP, you know, but it's like with space magic, and like didn't really take it too seriously. We played quite a bit, and I think both of us got to like, you know, level 26, because that was when, not many people probably remember this or know this, you hit level 20, and then to get from level 20 to 30, your armor had light on it. It was another variable on there. And it was like the average of what the light score was on all of your weapons and armor, and it was just armor. Yeah, and so the only way to get to level 30 is you had to get like 30 light or something on each of your armor pieces. And so that's why people were stuck at forever 29, because the only way to get 30 was you get it on Iron Banner gear and on Vogue gear. And I think the only two Iron Banner pieces that you could get 30 light were on the arms and legs, because I had them, because I grinded that particular Iron Banner where you could get 30 gear. And then exotics would also have 30 on them once you like level it up all the way. So all you needed was one Vogue piece. And mind you, this is also when class items didn't have light on them. So it was just your boots, your pants, your chest, or your boot / pants, your chest, and your helmet and arms, right? So that's all you needed. So I got really, really into it and started grinding a lot. He kind of like fell out of interest. We did try to do one Vogue run. Like we found an LFG team that was like kind of willing to show us, and they just wanted to cheese. Like I remember the first time I beat the Templar, they like cheesed it, where they like pushed him off the side or whatever. And
with a solar grenade.
Yeah, I had no idea what was going on. Like the whole time, they're just like, just stand here and don't die. And it was like, really, this is a raid? This is what people want to like do? Because up to that point, I was just running like Nightfalls, and that was when you get the flaming head. That was awesome. I was playing Crucible quite a bit because it was fun. And then we didn't finish. We weren't able to beat Atheon because they couldn't like get it to cheese correctly. And so the only two things I remember getting from that first raid was a corrective measures, which is the heavy machine gun, and I got the class item, the Shattered Vault Cloak. Because that was when like you could beat an encounter and all you would get were like Ascendant shards. It was pretty stingy back then. You know, we like look at how much loot just showers out of every encounter now, and it used to be so stingy, right? And you, but I like, I don't know, I ate it all up, and so by the time that was like late November, I think, that we started doing like, we tried to do like a Vogue run or two, and then Dark Below came out, and by that time like the game had its like hooks in me because a couple Iron Banners had come out, and I started to actually like do some raids. Like I did a bunch of Vogues, and then I did Crota's End and got super into it and hit 32 pretty early on, because that was the next level cap. I went from 30 to 32. And that was when it was like, all right. And then I went back and did hard mode on Vogue and got Baitbringer, because that was the only way you could get it on, was like on the hard mode version of the raid. And that's kind of, so I played pretty heavily, not intending to get addicted to it. And here we are 10 years later. So
I like how your friend who was like obsessively hyped about it.
Right.
Like, I feel like that's a common thing with Destiny, where I've known people who were really excited to play it before it came out because of Halo or other things.
Right.
And then that person has sort of gone, But then the people who have no concept of Halo or other things have sort of, it's been hooked,
right?
You know?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it was just so funny, like, because he didn't dislike the game. I want to be clear. Like, he continued to play with me. We did raids. He and my other buddy, so it was, I'll shout out to Code Neon and the Goof, because that was like my original fire team. And it was great because I was a hunter, and one of them was a warlock and a titan, so it was like perfect. And the first time I was able to beat Skolas, it was us 3, and we stayed up like super late, and like we got through it, and it was like a kind of a big achievement for us because we had kind of like, I was a pretty hardcore raider at that point, but they didn't do much endgame stuff, so they didn't have primaries that had elemental damage, but I had like all of them, and so we were able to beat Skolas, like Skolas's Revenge at level 35 when the level cap was 34, and it was like a huge accomplishment, and like I'll always kind of remember that, and both of them, like, they didn't fall out of love with the game, they both just had kids. Like I swear to God, my buddy Code Neon, his kid was born like a day before the Taken King launched. And I hate to say it, that's how I remember how old his son is. Because I just remember it's like, oh, it's September 2015, because that's when the Taken King came out.
Oh my God.
So he's gonna be 9 this year, so that's how I remember. So like, like they both kind of stopped playing because they couldn't, like, especially when Taken King came out, because it was like a whole new grind, and one of them had a kid and one of them was trying to have a kid, so they just kind of stopped playing and kind of never really came back to it. Like they would play through the campaign of like Rise of Iron, and then like D2 launched and they played through the campaign of that, but then by the time Forsaken came out, both of them were just like gone. Which is really a shame, because like that's when D2 got really good again, was during Forsaken. But yeah, so I lost my fire team to the corridors of time, so to speak, which is fine. I don't resent them for having kids or anything like that, but it's just what happens.
Rob's sitting there like, mate, I hope there's a raid, I'll turn them into a gun.
But yeah, so it's it's just, I don't have kids, and
see, Destiny players don't need to worry about that now because they're not getting married, they're not having kids.
Yeah, exactly. So I am married. I have been married for my 8-year anniversary is coming up, but I've been playing
congratulations.
I've been playing, yeah.
The really I'd say spiteful is the wrong word. The really like mean streak in me really wanted to respond to that with, I'm really sorry to hear that. That was a bit of a joke.
I think my wife probably is too. No, yeah, no. I've been playing. I've been playing Destiny longer than I've been married, which is kind of funny to think about too. So
that's fun.
You think about like
he slipped through the cracks.
Yeah, well, you think about like long-term like accomplishments in your life, like, oh, I've had this job for 10 years, or I've been doing this hobby for 10 years, or whatever. Like, I think Destiny is like the longest hobby I've ever maintained, like, consistently, and it's like it's longer than, I think the longest job I've ever worked at was like 9 years. And
yeah,
I didn't leave that job because I wanted to. I actually like working there. It was just like an opportunity came up that was better long term. So, but ultimately, yeah, like Destiny's been like the longest running streak of anything in my life, even longer than my marriage technically. So
it's kind of crazy to think about. I mean, 10 years is a long, it's a long time.
It is
kind of nuts. So I like that you brought up your fire team, because I think something that's really special about Destiny and this whole past decade with it is kind of the friends you make along the way, right?
That sounds corny, but it's the way. No, it literally is. No, Destiny is literally the friends we made along the way.
It is. It's like, it's the most important part. Destiny is inherently very much a social game, I think.
Right.
At least for a lot of people, and at least it was like designed, intended to be that way, I think. And I've definitely met cool people. I've become closer friends with people that maybe I already knew, but maybe wouldn't have been closer with through the game. Yeah, it's been pretty cool. I mean, obviously, there's always those LFG moments where you get stuck with psychopaths, but
yep,
the good far outweighs the bad as far as
I won't match you next time, Scotty. Don't worry.
There you go.
So yeah, no, I've made some very cool friends. I remember my very first raid was Leviathan, actually.
What?
Because
you played the whole of D1 and didn't raid?
Yeah.
What raids?
Yeah,
Are there raids you haven't played?
What raids I haven't played? I have not played Wrath of the Machine.
Huh? Right? No.
Yeah.
No. We can't be having this.
I know.
Yeah, I've never played Wrath. I think that's
Did you
no.
Did you re-download Destiny 1?
No, I gotta do that.
Do that, and we'll do Wrath. I want to do Wrath again.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
I'll see.
I'm
Who I
sure we
can,
can
I'll
find
see who
people
I
to
can
do
get. I'll see. If I ask people in the I'll ask people in the clan chat.
Yeah, no, I'm down. I think that would be really fun. And I haven't done Garden, but that's D2, and I don't really want to do Garden that much anyway.
Garden,
I want to do
Garden
Garden.
is shit. So.
Yeah, that's why I haven't played it. But yeah, anyways, my first raid was Leviathan, and I remember it was me and all my high school buddies, and we were all really bad at the game. And oh no, it wasn't Leviathan; it was Eater of Worlds.
Oh no, even worse.
Yeah, and it took us like multiple days and 8 hours total probably to get
Wow.
through Eater of Worlds. Yeah, because yeah, I know one of the easiest raids of all time, and we were all just really bad at the game. But like I look back at those
It's literally
memories,
leapfrog, a wave
Yeah.
of ads.
Well, it was
use
it was
crystals.
all of our first raids, and
that makes
it was
sense.
me and all of my high school buddies, and we were all just really bad, and it was so fun to like I guess learn with them and shit talk each other.
Yeah.
Probably too much, and it was a good time. I remember doing that, and then we played Leviathan. We were so bad we never even finished Spire Stars.
Spire Stars. Terrible.
But yeah, I honestly I had a lot of fun during that era. I think that was when Curse of Osiris and Warmind came out.
Yeah, Eater of
around
Worlds
that era.
was Curse of Osiris. So your first time raiding was probably like the lowest point in the game.
The lowest point in Destiny. I know. Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about. It's fun. I mean, I know because my experience, especially my early experience, is so different from I think a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of their like the general consensus I think of the game.
Right.
It's yeah, it's funny. But I like look back at those memories like so fondly, just being I don't know naive and oblivious to how truly awful we are.
The game's more fun. Obviously, I mean, this is with anything. The game's more fun when you know less about it. Like
Yeah.
to an extent. Obviously, like if you're completely utterly clueless and all these fucking verbs are flying around, jolt, fucking scorch. I don't know what these mean. Then yeah. But back in the day when there wasn't a collections tab, so you couldn't see all the exotics, and people couldn't data mine stuff because it was on a fucking PlayStation.
Right.
Yeah, it was simpler back in Destiny. Vanilla Destiny 2 through Warmind was a lot less I don't know, intensive. Once Forsaken came out, it started to get more interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely that era of Destiny was different.
I remember when Taken King came out, I played it with my friend Sam, who I haven't heard from in a while. But I remember we finished the campaign like the day. I mean, it's not very long really, and I got really ill. So I had to take time off school, and my mum's like, "Are you just being ill just so you can play this?" I'm like, "No, I'm actually really ill," and I'd sit there on the sofa trying not to throw up while trying to do the sword farm. Like just to get the legendary sword, the legendary sword, because you had to get that
the Hadium flakes or something like that.
Yeah, something like that, and you had to do it around the dreadnought. And I remember sitting there on the sofa, barely able to sit up, trying not to like throw up everywhere, like just running around the dreadnought, like
That's so funny.
But
I'm trying to think if I have any good Taken King. I'm like because I don't know if I do.
I really enjoy. I mean, most people enjoy Taken King. I think it was very short. The story, though, I like going into it. I kind of expected more than there was, story-wise, like mission-wise.
Yeah, it was a little short, but like I remember the final mission was so cool when you walk up to the door.
Yeah, that is very cool. Still,
the old Taken King symbol and that final boss fight was neat. The Dreadnought was so cool seeing that for the first time.
New patrol space. I'm still mad that there's music that they haven't released properly from the Taken King.
I know.
I remember seeing the Rise of Iron
Don't baby me.
trailer when that came out. I remember
do you
sitting in media production class in 8th grade, and our teacher and some of my friends, we all played Destiny, and I remember like we were all talking about like Rise of Iron or something when the trailer came out, because we were all interested in it, and none of us wanted to do any work.
Right.
And my teacher didn't want to teach, and we were all talking about Rise of Iron. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my media production teacher was like a Destiny fan, and I remember we would talk about Destiny all the time, and it was pretty fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, we were not.
I remember when it leaked, when they called leaked.
Oh, that poster.
The Rise of Iron. Yeah. The leak.
What
Yeah,
was the
because they leaked. I say it was definitely on purpose. Someone had just taken a picture of a poster for Rise of Iron that was, Lord Saladin, in his all armor with his axe, surrounded by wolves in front of like the Cosmodrome wall.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a really, I say low point. It was just very quiet, because I remember the lead up to Christmas of 2015. People were expecting a trailer, a teaser for a Destiny expansion. Like similar to Taken King, Dark Below. And then was it Gamescom, and then they show off SRL, and everyone was like, "What? Why are we not getting a DLC?"
Right.
And then we had that for a few weeks. That went away, and then we didn't have anything for a while, and then they announced the April update. But that was the most quiet point in Destiny. Was
Yeah.
Taken King.
So yeah, when people talk about like content droughts, like that was.
Because we had the Taken King came out, we had the raid, we had hard mode, we had the Whisper mission that wasn't the Whisper mission, the Black Hammer mission,
Right.
And then we had the Sleeper mission, so that sort of held us over through like October, bit of November, and that's when people were expecting DLC trailer.
Right.
Didn't happen.
Yeah, and then they had like hard mode of King's Fall and challenge mode came out.
Yeah.
And that was like,
but like
the way
that's
to get
for raiders, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that was the way to get. Like,
I mean, I played it.
Yeah, but certainly, and then I remember
too.
they took like they took like half of January off, and then the TWAB that came out after their silence was basically like, "Welcome back. We'll be posting regularly again," and everyone's like, "Really? You're not going to announce anything, or like nothing's come out?"
It was because they was. The D2 had been delayed, wasn't it? And obviously, but they hadn't announced that.
Right.
And then they announced Rise of Iron. So when did they? So that leak came out, and then they announced Rise of Iron.
Right. Exactly. And that was. But even then, I think the rumors that D2 was supposed to be out the next year sort of surfaced afterwards. Like, I don't think anyone necessarily thought D2 was going to come out after Taken King, because there was that one.
No, we only know that in retrospective.
Exactly.
The live team made Rise of Iron
to stall for another year.
Yeah.
Right. And Rise of Iron ended up being. I don't know. I still think there's something magical about Rise of Iron, not just because Wrath of the Machine, but like, I think it.
I want the snowy Cosmodrome back.
Yeah, the snowy Cosmodrome was
something
cool.
about the snow, man.
Plague lands were awesome.
It's not the same. It's not the same as Europa.
I agree.
Where's the other snow place?
There's another one.
Well, we have some in Pale Heart too.
Yeah, I mean, part of the Cosmodrome had a bit of snow in it. Not now.
Right.
But for some reason, they've defrosted it.
Right.
We left it out for too long. But yeah, no, just the vibe of it, I think it is.
Yeah, and just this kind of cool one. I always remember, like, I think the Grimoire card for like House of Kings mentioned that they're looking for something hidden in the Cosmodrome, and then when like Rise of Iron came out, my brain was always like, oh, this is the thing they're looking for, and it just was like it was a wonderful bookend, because Wrath of the Machine was great. We got some like just some good strikes, and it was good. And then we got Age of Triumph, which I don't think anything's come as close to just like in terms of like a bookend to like Destiny, it was just so good to make basically everything in the game is relevant except for Skolas's Revenge. That's the only thing that's like doesn't have like
I remember going in there and soloing it and blocking the poison.
All right, you could do it with the sword. Yeah. But it's just like I think with everything that came out with Rise of Iron was so good, and I think a really great way. Other than some of the PvP changes that they made at the very end, that were like,
what with the special ammo? Well, because we had Rise of Iron, then that went on for a bit. I'm trying to think. We had obviously
we had SRL again, and then basically the Age of Triumph came out in March or April. So it was this was like the last like 5 or 6 months of D1's
No, I think
life.
It was announced in April. It came out end of April, maybe something.
Yeah, you might be right.
And then the D2 teaser came out. I remember.
Right.
I remember. Why do I remember the memory of seeing the D2 trailer come out, like as in like be posted, more than I remember when I got my first Galahorn? I can't remember. I didn't buy it from Zer. I know that. I was too busy shooting things in the Cosmodrome at like
Age of Triumph came out March 28th. So
really?
Yeah, so it was the last 6 months basically of D1's life, and it was glorious and wonderful and like yeah.
Yeah, but they've ruined it and they brought back the wrong Crota's End armor. The Age of Triumph Crota's End armor is worse than the base set. Fight me.
Wait, which one's the glowy one? Are they both glowy?
That's the glowy
the base.
one.
I like the glowy one.
I prefer the not glowy one.
But the glowy one's so glowy.
Yeah, but the Warlock helmet and the Titan gauntlets are superior in the non-glowy version.
I think I agree with that.
Oh, fair enough. The only one I'm familiar with is the glowy one, because I only did Crota's End in D2.
Oh my gosh!
I know.
I think the King's Fall armor is like cooler for like the Age of Triumph glowy armor.
I can't find images for the D1 set now because the fucking D2 set is everywhere. Actually, to be fair, the armor we're getting for the Hive thing, you know, the Heretic, whatever it, or Heresy, whatever there's episode 3, that looks quite like the original Crota's End armor.
Yeah, it definitely takes some like clearly like inspiration.
There, look. I mean, it's a fucking a YouTube thumbnail, but it looks much better.
Yeah,
I think the glowy ones are too over the top for me.
That's fair. Yeah, it's a different aesthetic.
I wish you
D1.
I wish you
at
could
the end of the
turn
day,
it
I wish
off.
you could just toggle it. Like
that's what it was like in D1 because they were ornaments, weren't they?
Right.
They weren't.
Right. Yeah, and then the Vault of Glass got 2 different armor pieces or 2 different ornaments, which is cool. I think the Hunter getting the Vex like leg is pretty awesome.
I want my Wi-Fi bar back. It's unfortunate that Wrath of the Machine armor was terrible for for Age of Triumph. It just didn't look very good.
We're supposed to be positive, Map.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just I'm bringing back my complaints from then. Typical Destiny player. I like the armor. I think that's my favorite Warlock helmet. That helmet from Crota's End D1 is my favorite helmet. The non-glowy one. I just think it just looks cool. It's like a cross between like an owl's skull and a koala and I don't know, something else.
So it's funny. It's funny you say that because my favorite is the Mouth of whatever, which is the King's Fall one. I like the kind of the non ornamented one.
Yeah. See, I like both for the Crota's End, Age of Triumph, and the non. I'm wondering if they'll ever bring them back.
We'll see.
So I got a nostalgic question for you guys.
Yep.
What was your first exotic drop?
Truth.
The track.
It was what?
Yeah. It was the only way I was able to keep doing Crota's End runs with people.
Truth.
Because I didn't have a G-Horn, but I did have Truth, and I could donate multiple rockets. So
donate.
Yeah.
That's cool. think
it
mine
was
was
either
Hawkman.
really.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Mine was either Universal Remote or Armor Wise Glasshouse, which was one of the exotics of all time. But
The exotics of all time. Yeah, that's fair. My first
don't know.
legendary was the comedian, the Vanguard shotgun.
Oh yeah. A
Because
classic?
I always remember how like awesome I thought the flavor text was, because it's just ah ha 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 or whatever. Like, so
I think
think-
mine was
oh.
some random rocket launcher that was
Right.
blue coloured, so it's probably the Vanguard one at the time.
Yeah, I don't remember my first one. I remember one of my favorites was Lord High Fixer though.
oh yeah, the Crucible one,
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
Luna's
that was
Howl,
cool.
the one that Luna's Howl copied.
Yes.
Yeah, I always
Yeah,
think I always
exactly.
thought Lord High Fixer was a cool. Like, I like the little bottom mount thing at the end. Of it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. I always thought it looked cool and it felt cool. I was like, this is sick.
yeah. I still.
think,
I still have my, because I looked like yesterday when I was going through my vault in D1. I still have my vendor Devil from like vanilla release that has like
really?
it has
Hold on, I'll
crowd
go on
control
now.
and shit, you think I remember, because I just thought like Zen Moment or something like that.
That's awesome.
Pull it up. But yeah, I
I've
still
just gone on dim on D1. Why is there stuff in my postmaster? Why is there a blue
probably
helmet?
clear it
there?
out.
Token of identity.
Yeah, it's got Zen Moment and crowd control, which eventually turned into Rampage.
I have
then-
I have tier 12 on my Titan. I
Nice.
still remember that. Very nice.
I remember
Uh,
thinking the coolest thing ever was Hawkmoon with the carrion ornament on it. Where
Oh,
That is nice.
yeah.
the
It's all-
barrel's like blood spattered.
Yeah.
Thing was awesome. I just thought that was like the most badass looking gun I'd ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
And I never took it off.
I still have my OG Fatebringer as well, where it's like legendary and arc damage. And my Vision of
That's awesome.
Confluence. And my Murmur, which still to this day is like one of my favorite legendaries.
What is
like,
Murmur? I don't even
It
know
was
what that is.
it was the fusion rifle that
Fusion.
you got from completing the Dark Below like campaign, where
You could swap it.
Yeah, you could swap between arc and solar damage on it. And it wasn't
Yeah.
like a long reload. You had to like go in and click a node and it would change
Yeah.
the damage type
Oh.
for it. Which would be like amazing to bring back in D2, where it's like it's like a long press reload and you can change the damage type. Like, how perfect would that be for a fusion
That's
rifle? I mean, I know
Borealis.
I know, exactly. It's a Borealis
hard
but for a
line.
And
fusion
Dead
rifle.
Messenger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm.
Like, and bring it back from like, they could do that because like we're gonna go to the Dreadnought. That would be a perfect like exotic to have for that.
Ooh, what? do you
Imagine if
reckon
it could-
they'll bring back?
No, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, I was thinking of what exotic would they bring back if we went back to the Dreadnought, but I was like, they probably
Not gonna be Touch of Malice.
No.
Yeah, that's
It's not gonna be Plan
Been there, done that.
C. You got. I
Hey,
don't.
they redo the Rasputin on the Dreadnought story, and
Ooh.
we get Pocket Infinity back there. There's my spin.
That
for
know,
that
actually,
theory.
that would be kind of a
Oh.
neat idea, right? Like, there's a copy of Rasputin that somehow like Oryx took, and so we have to go back to the Dreadnought and we actually find it and talk to
fan
it.
fiction.
And if no one knows
Well-
what we're talking about, I think it's still on like the Destiny app. Like, you can change your icon, but there's a famous picture of an Exo kind of sitting on his butt with his hands crossed over his his knees, and he's sitting against a wall. And that was supposedly the story behind that is
Oh,
like
yeah.
where you rescue Rasputin from the Dreadnought, which is part of the original vanilla D1 campaign. And so, yeah, that would be an awesome little throwback of somehow like you find a fragment of Rasputin on the Dreadnought that's been there like this whole time. I kind of like that with
That would be pretty neat.
Pocket Infinity would be rad to bring back. I don't want Icebreaker. Like it just
No, it ruins the game.
it does. Completely agree. There's
Unless
no way
it
you
was
could
a sword and we could use it like a chainsaw, like Lament. That would be cool.
There's no way you can bring it back without it like losing whatever the original like flavor from it was. And it still feel like Icebreaker. You'll never bring back Plan C because we basically got the exotic perk as just a perk and normal weapons.
What about the swords? Dark Drinker and Raise Lighter.
We technically have legendary them. So
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're
they
right.
They don't have enough
The only
exotic
thing of it-
pizzazz anymore.
no.
Yeah, good point.
We're not gonna get like
Wolf-
Abaddon and Nova Mortis. Nemesis Star.
I
Was
feel like they only brought those out because we saw them in a trailer and
Right.
they were like, shit, we
Right.
kind of have to do it now. We'll
Right.
just feel the.
But it was
exotic
kind of
look.
it was a fun way to kind of kill time during the Christmas event that year when they came out. So it was
Bungie,
fun.
please add more snow to the tower. I miss how much
Please,
snow it has.
more snow. All the snow.
I know we're dealing with global warming, but please just give us more snow.
Yeah. Don't do Nemesis Star. I mean, you could bring back Nemesis Star, but have it be like something completely
Bestian
different.
Dynasty?
Vestian Dynasty would be kind of cool.
How would that work?
Bestian Dynasty already is in the game.
That's true.
You could have it. You could have it. And it could be a stasis primary that when you get kills, it gives you the stasis armor.
That could be cool.
Oh, Frost armor.
Yeah, so
or whatever the
headshots,
perk is
procs,
called.
headshots do, headstone, body shot, because it was the headshot kills do something, body shot kills do something.
Oh no, you're thinking of Boolean Gemini, right?
Sorry, yeah, not Vested Dynasty. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, because it was originally called 123 Vested Dynasty or whatever, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm calling it that. Yeah. Yeah.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about with
Boolean
some
Scout
of this.
rifle. It was a scout rifle.
347 Vested Dynasty. That's what it is.
Yeah, so it was shown off in the House of Wolves, but did not release with House of Wolves.
Right.
It was, and it had that name in the the API for a while, but then when Taken King came out, it was with a quest, and it was called the Boolean Gemini instead.
Yep.
Yeah, I never had that.
Well,
Like, for example, I never
Boolean
had
It was
those
kind of
tools.
it was kind of useless. I liked it just because of how it fired, and it was fun how it fired. Because I don't know why, it was just a very stable gun, but it was just kind of pointless to use. But
right.
they could bring it back and make it, interesting.
Yeah, so Boolean Gemini, like a Boolean is like either like a yes or no in like logic. And so it had like two different states where, what is it, like precision, if you got a precision final blow, it would like up your armor, but if you got like a body shot final blow, it would up your like accuracy or something like that.
Yes.
So it was like, but you had to choose which nodes you wanted to choose, which is kind of stupid. Like it should be either or, like they should both be active. But anyway, it's a cool looking scout rifle. But yeah, it was during Taken King, it was launched and it had the 347 on there. But then getting it was actually kind of a pain in the ass because you had to get like rank 5 with Petrovenge or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was like kind of a tedious grind for a weapon that ended up being kind of lackluster. I think the only reason people got it was because it was a good way to kind of raise your light level early on in the Taken King because it was like guaranteed to be at like 290 light or something like that. So it was like that was kind of it.
I mean, also people wanted it just for the fact of like, it's an exotic.
Right. So yeah, that's what it looked like.
Exotic scout rifle.
Yeah.
I feel like it's been a while since I've seen a new exotic scout rifle. Or
we got
what was
we
the
got
last
the
one?
stasis one from Season of the Deep. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, well,
I would
is
kill
that
to get that
called?
helmet back.
Oh yeah, the what was
Just
that
for the
effect
spikes
called?
on that helmet looks cool. Queen's Wrath.
Queen's Wrath. Yeah, that's about
That's
when I
technically
started
Destiny's
playing, and I wasn't
first
high enough to
event.
beat anything.
just came
How,
from
how excited did you guys get for D2 when they announced it?
I was excited. I was very excited.
Yes, I was ecstatic.
I watched every trailer, every cinematic animation they released. I was like, oh
Did
my
you
god,
watch
this
the
is gonna be
reveal,
amazing.
the live reveal.
I don't know if I watched the live one. I was probably in school. But I remember seeing all the trailers.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I think it aired in the evening for us. So
Oh, okay, yeah.
I was like, "What do you mean you're in school?" I was like, "Oh yeah."
Probably aired at Reset,
Yeah,
which is always in the middle of the day.
I want that to come back as an exotic.
Stalker Bangle.
It's got the cool tiger logo. So that was like a blue drop that you could only get during Dark Below. and it's
it looks pretty cool.
And it's got this like, it's the only weapon that has this neat like tiger camo on the side, and you can't get it to drop anymore in the wild because it only dropped during Dark Below, and it's like it's a generic, it's like the standard like Vesta Nobilis, like, or Proxima Centauri is probably like the most generic, like that was
It's
like
got Tiger Man on the side.
Yeah, it's an awesome tiger skin, and it's not in the game anymore.
In D3, we're gonna just play as Tiger Man.
There you go. I'm down with that.
So,
yeah, no, I know so when the trailer launched, and I did not watch the live stream in real time. I was like on a road trip that day, but then like when I got to the hotel or something, I like watched it that night when like Luke Smith went out there and he had the 9 symbols on his like sweater, and
I think he was wearing a Lost Sector t-shirt.
Yeah, and he like he kept changing like things, and that was when we got the cool Zavala cinematic of kind of like his
I
like
remember thinking that was
history,
so cool.
and
that was more story than we'd had in Destiny ever.
Yeah,
at that point.
Yeah, like his whole
like,
resurrection.
Oh my God, Zavala is a character.
Yeah,
I think that's why I was so excited for it. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Story
I
content.
think even Lance Reddick was there at the thing, because he was talking about how like he did raids with some of the community managers, and like, what was it like Deej always tells that story, like when they raided, he asked if he could call him Zavala during the raid or something like that, like they were doing a VOG run, and he's like, okay, that's fine. So yeah, though that was definitely like Omega hype.
Yeah.
And then when kind of the dust settled and the whole like dual primaries and like,
well, I remember when D2 came out, like the first week.
Oh yeah.
People were like, "Oh my God, it's amazing! It's Destiny without all the shit."
Right.
And it was only till after the raid came out, and people were like, "Oh,
we're done.
That's
We've literally got
everything."
Yeah.
Yeah, like
It's over.
that's when. But I remember all the early reviews and stuff were all like, "Oh my God, it's amazing!"
Right.
Yeah.
And then it was
I remember liking it.
And then the feedback was, "Hey, dual primaries doesn't work. Maybe by Curse of Osiris we can go back to random rolls and not dual primaries." And it was like, nope, they just kind of doubled down on it, and it was like,
well, no, it's one of those things where I get it as well, because of how the DLCs are made. They would have been made before the game came out.
Definitely.
So all that feedback you can't implement then. So I mean, I said this to people at the time, like I didn't want double primaries, but I was like, I don't expect them to change it because this shit's already been made, like,
right.
As of everything. Like, it's not like Destiny 2 comes out, launch, right, we're going to start work on Curse of Osiris, guys.
Right.
What do we do?
Right.
I mean, with anything, but...
Totally.
Yeah, like...
Do you guys have any notable memories from the Curse of Osiris Warmind era? Or was it just kind of a dead...
Yeah, no, I enjoyed... I mean, I played a decent amount of Trials of the Nine.
Oh yeah, Trials of the Nine.
I had fun doing Leviathan, Eater of Worlds, and but Warmind I quite liked. It was a lot better than Curse of Osiris.
Warmind was
Warmind is a better expansion than, in a vacuum, than the other smaller DLCs we'd had. It was better than Curse of Osiris. It was better than House of Wolves. It was better than
Dark Below.
I think so. Yeah, I think it was in terms of like what was added story wise and kind of the setting up of things. It was pretty
Escalation Protocol was fun. I enjoyed
Escalation Protocol. I do think it was kind of anticlimactic to kill like a hive worm god during a strike.
Yeah, I remember people get really annoyed about that.
That was kind of like, oh, this is like, I don't know. I think it would have been cooler if like that was like, that would have been a more neat setup for like the raid for that expansion, right? Where it's like you like weaken him and he escapes, but then like the raid is you have to like finish him off. But I know with the what do they call them, raid layers or whatever, right? So Spire of the Stars had to be kind of related to the Leviathan, and it was like I don't know. I think by that point
Yeah,
everyone's
but we
kinda
got
just
one of the
over.
best bit of raid music ever from that raid, so no one can talk shit about it.
No, but it's like I think people like that, and I'm glad they kind of changed that where it's like every raid that came out was like related to the Leviathan, and it just really wasn't that interesting. Like after we beat Callus, like Robo Callus, it just kind of like I don't know. Eater of Worlds was neat, I guess. I've only done that raid like twice. Same with Spire. I've only
it's fine for a raid layer, like
right.
I'm glad they didn't just call them a raid. Like
Right.
they were aware that it wasn't
right.
a raid.
But I'm just saying, like that setting, like where you're like at the core of the reactor of like the Leviathan, and like there's a giant Hydra. How much cooler would that have been if that was like the Hive Worm God, like was hanging out in there? Like that would have been. I don't know. It just seems like if they kind of shifted things around, that would have ended up being like a much cooler and neater setting and an more interesting raid boss than just like a giant Cabal guy who was just like I don't know.
Yeah.
That so I have some kind of like not the best memories of Curse of Osiris, not to get like personal, but that like my dad passed away like 2 weeks after Curse of Osiris came out, and it was like no, life happens, you know, it is what it is. But like no, but it's just like what do you do, right? It's like my dad was sick for a long time, and it just like so like that DLC came out, and it was not helping me like therapeutically, like it wasn't distracting enough. So that's actually when I had an Xbox. So I played D1 exclusively on PlayStation up to that point. And
was it on a PS4?
Yeah, it was on a PS4, yeah. And then
did you hear that, Scotty?
Wait, what's crazy?
Well, Scotty is playing D2 to this day on a PS4.
I know.
But we played Destiny 1 on a PS4.
How many years ago?
Yeah, and I had an Xbox One that like my wife and I bought for because she wanted to play Conker's Bad Fur Day, and you could get the rare replay. That's why we had it. But anyway, so I bought D1, the collection where it had all the DLCs, and so I just started like a fresh character and went back and played Destiny 1 and all the DLCs, and I played like Wrath of the Machine and got a bunch of like the Age of Triumph weapons and things like that on Xbox, and that was able to like distract me from the crippling issues and shit that I was going through at the time. So during most of Curse of Osiris, I was actually playing Destiny 1. So yeah, that's where I was for Curse of Osiris, and then Warmind came out, and it was like things started getting interesting, and the new Whisper the War mission came out, and things were cool, and then when they announced Forsaken, and basically were like all the things that you didn't like about the launch of D1 or of D2 we're fixing. Random rolls are coming back and all this stuff. So then that reinvigorated the hype for everybody, I think, and Forsaken knocked it out of the park. But yeah, so there was like a 3-month period during like Curse of Osiris where I was like, I don't want to say I was in a dark place or anything like that, but it was definitely like Curse of Osiris wasn't cutting it in terms of like distracting me at all, because it was just not good.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. So this was my time to shine. I was going through, I guess, I don't know, we'll call it a breakup, I guess, and I got Curse of Osiris and Warmind, and that's when I started like raiding and stuff, and that's like what got me back into Destiny, actually. Was doing this just because, not because Curse of Osiris or Warmind were phenomenal or anything, at least in retrospective, but again, this was my first raid, so it was like, oh my gosh, raiding is so cool.
Yeah.
So
it was like a big part of the game you'd missed out on.
Exactly. So it was kind of game changing, I guess, so to speak. I remember playing Eater Worlds a lot, and it was like the coolest thing I'd ever done. And then Leviathan was even better, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then we tried to do Spyro Stars, and it became just like, that was like what I was thinking about. Yeah. But that's what I was thinking about all summer, because it was just so cool. I loved the whole idea of raiding. I'd never played anything like that before in my life. And then Forsaken came out, and Forsaken was phenomenal. Like, I remember when Forsaken dropped, I played... No, actually, before that, do you guys remember seeing the trailer, the E3 Forsaken trailer
Yeah.
that came out.
Yeah.
When Cade gets shot in the face.
Yeah. Well, we
Yeah.
describe it, but
I
yeah.
remember that.
I remember that like vividly. I remember because it like came out, like my friend and I were hanging out and we were both like, "Oh my god, they killed Cade! Oh my gosh!" We were freaking out watching the trailer.
You bastard!
I know. And then for that first week that it came out, I would come home from school and I would just play Forsaken for like 4 or 5 hours straight every day for that whole week. And it was wonderful. It's like a golden age of Destiny.
Oh,
Greatest
you were
thing
in.
ever.
Oh, yeah, because your school works differently in America and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was in college then.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is between secondary school and university, so that's like 16 to 18. So
Oh,
I
interesting.
was in college then, and I didn't start college, my second year of college, till like probably like the end of September. So I was free to play Forsaken for a good bit, and I remember, yeah, that's all I played.
Yeah. It was awesome. I remember even Gambit was so
I'll
cool.
tell you a funny story though. So I was very stressed for the launch of Forsaken because our neighbour is a gardener, and some stuff in his garden he can't do, so his son will come round because he's very old and will do it for him. And there's a hedge that sort of is attached like a brick wall that connects our garden to the front drive to their front drive.
Mhm.
And the son said he came over and he did our side of the hedge as well. That's very nice of him. Somehow cut through our fucking cable for the broadband, everything.
Oh
phone,
my God.
because we were with Virgin Media. So phone, TV, everything gone. Wi-Fi gone. This was around end of August. And Virgin Media are particularly shit here. And they are very slow to do anything. So they were supposed to have it done, I think it was like the 1st of September or something, and they didn't show up, and they were like, "Oh, we'll probably delay it to another week." So I was sitting there for a good week with like no internet, no nothing, right? And I was like, "Oh my god, I'm not gonna have internet to play Forsaken."
That's awesome. Or not awesome, but you know what I mean. Forsaken was
Yeah, it was great. I was
good.
so happy.
Do you remember when Gambit was fun? Like that was like.
Do you remember the
cool to
Gambit
me.
playtest?
Yes.
Yeah, because it
weekend
came
it
out
was
before
awesome.
Forsaken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I remember
but
that.
everyone was
Cool.
just running 7
Sleeper, right?
not sleeper. The
Or was-
shotgun, the escalation protocol shotgun with
7th Seraph. Yeah, what was it called?
I don't think it because the
Icolos
CQC.
shotgun
Icolos,
with,
yeah.
That's it. The Icolos. Yeah.
yeah.
Because the 7th Seraph shotgun is the lightweight frame.
Right.
One.
Yeah.
But the Icolos
With
shotgun
trench
and it
barrel?
had,
Yep.
trench barrel. So everyone was
Yep.
just melting bosses with trench. I remember.
Yeah, those were the days. I
You'd
remember
use
trench barrels used.
melting. Was it melting point? Because they changed it
Yep.
since.
Yeah, it was
Melting point. Melting point kick with
And that was when you could make it have void damage, and so you could also
Yes.
tractor.
So tractor.
cannon. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
So one person would run tractor and the other people would run that void. You would melting point, the boss would die. Like, I know people are like, it was balanced when back then. It's like,
Yeah.
no. Everyone just jumps to a meta. It's because it wasn't out long enough for people to realise that. Like, I mean, we went in straight away as a team with that in mind, of right, I'm going to kick the boss, you're going to tractor cannon it, and we're just going to shotgun it and it's going to die.
Right.
And that was very clearly meta because, you get people going into Gambit because it was a trial thing, who had never played anything like a raid in their life. So they're not used to doing DPS on a boss.
Right.
So you'd melt the boss and the boss on their thing either wouldn't have spawned. I mean, it's like Gambit to this day. But that problem has always been there.
You guys remember when exotic drops were like so limited? Like it was like insane how rare
yes,
they were.
but I've always had good luck with exotics. Except like a random few. Like I got Thunderlord I got from my first Nightfall. That proper Nightfall that I did, that I was carried through. It was Is it Winter's Run?
Yeah, that's the Venus one.
Yeah,
Where you
I
kinda
don't see. This is the
choose-
thing. Yeah, I don't remember where I got Galahorn from. I can't actually remember now, which is really weird that I can't remember.
I remember my
Um,
Galahorn drop. I peed my pants almost.
How old were you?
It was the Sunday after House of Wolves dropped.
Oh my god, you can. I see. I can't remember. I can remember Hawkmoon. I got it on a random drop at the end of a PvP match on Twilight Gap,
That's perfect.
and I got kicked from my fire team because of it.
That's awesome. Yeah, it was a Sunday. House of Wolves had just come out. I was just kind of like playing through strikes or something like that, and I got a couple legendary engrams, and I was at the Vestigian outpost, and it was like, oh, that's what it was. I turned in a bunch of engrams, and I ranked up and got a legendary engram, and it was a heavy weapon. I was like, oh, this would be cool if it turned into an exotic, and I decrypted it, and it turned into G-Horn, and I quietly walked out of because I was in my bedroom because I was like renting a house at the time with some other people, and my roommate who was playing Destiny on Xbox, and he had already gotten like 2 G-Horns, and I just kind of quietly sat down next to him, and I was like, I got Galahorn, and then I like got up and walked out, and then went back and started playing. So I'll always remember my G-Horn drop.
Shadowkeep like got rid of so many of my original Destiny friends. That's when
Really?
Yeah, because like we started with vanilla D2, and then Forsaken kept everyone pretty engaged, and we would play together. And then Shadowkeep came out, and it wasn't very good, and we lost a lot of people. Just kind of quit Destiny at that point. It was a shame.
At
Shadowkeep was kind of a low
Shadowkeep?
point. Yeah,
Really?
I
after
mean, it was
Shadowkeep.
kind of. It was kind of shit.
Shadowkeep was not good.
Especially after Forsaken, like the jump in size.
Yeah,
Like a part of me was like, when I was playing through the story, I was like, oh, I wonder. I know they hadn't announced it, but I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if the pyramid ship was the end game destination?
mm-hmm.
Like the Dreaming City, and you could go in and explore the pyramid ship.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be neat.
Yeah, the scope.
I mean,
was
they
there.
hadn't announced it. I didn't expect that, but I was like, that would have been cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Especially since it was the moon, which we'd already been to.
yeah, definitely the scope was a lot more subdued. I don't know. Shadowkeep was kind of an interesting time too, because that was also the dawn of seasons as we know them, and I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of development was put, because that's where we also got the Black Garden activity, which was pretty good. I mean, it kind of outstayed its welcome.
It got stale, but I quite enjoyed it. That was the first time we've had a game mode where there were a lot of enemies to shoot at.
Right,
I
like a
feel
lot. Yeah, the ad density started going up and got interesting. I will say that's also kind of a point in the game where I'm still not thrilled that they decided to do, where I understand for the size of the game, like I get purely like size, but that's when they started to make content that was only around for like a short amount of time, and like you can't do that activity anymore, and it was kind of fun, and it's like it set them on a path that they haven't come back from, where it's like you spend so much time and development hours creating these play spaces that are really interesting and sometimes really beautiful, and sometimes they end up repurposing them and doing other things with them, but then it's like, how long did it take you to make those? And it seems like as quickly as they're here, they're gone. And that's when the seasonal activity was gone at the end of the season. At least now you get it for like the rest of the year of that expansion's life. But like, I don't know, it kind of sucks, like how much time was spent developing those, and artists' creativity went into making these cool spaces, and then they just get rid of them. That's why I'm glad like they brought the exotic missions back, and like some of these things you can replay. It's just like, it's I don't know, like that's kind of the, I think, like, Scotty, you talk about people like leaving. I think that was kind of the moment that did it for a couple of my buddies, and why they stopped playing as well. And it was more for that reason, where it's like, I don't want to pay for content anymore that I'm not going to have forever. And I know that's the whole, like, you don't own it outright. Like, that's like a whole other subject that I don't want to like get into, but it's like, I think that was kind of the moment for them where it's like, I don't like not having like agency of when I can go do it. I have to go do it during this short time. I can't go back to it. And it's like, and that killed it for some people that I know that are just like, I don't like that I can't play it whenever I want. And that's, I will say, look at D1, like I was able to pop it in and still play Devil's Lair and still explore the Cosmodrome 10 years later because it's all still accessible in the game. And I don't know, I want to give D1 credit.
There's only really sort of like 2 years of content though.
There is, well, 3 years, but it's.
I mean, it's because we didn't get any.
Right, exactly.
DLC.
Like right. If they had continued to expand D1, I'm sure we would have gone through that. But it's like, at least if someone wants to get into the Destiny franchise, you can still at least go back and play D1 in all of its entirety, right? You can go play VoG and Crota's End and King's Fall and Wrath of the Machine and play through all of those campaigns. You can still play the Dark Below DLC, as short and maybe not amazing as it is. You can
it's
still,
like, isn't it 3 missions long?
It is. And, well, there's also the, everyone always says that, but there's that other, like, side mission that you had to do where you had to gather all the body parts and then go back into the moon. And she's like, don't forget the eyes. Everyone always forgets that, but that's how you get, like, there was another arm, like a set of arms that you could get for each character. So, technically, there's a fourth mission, but...
The shittier version of the... Crota's End armor.
Yeah, exactly. It was just a set of arms. Like, it wasn't a full complete set. Yeah. But yeah, so it's like, yeah, I mean, it's not amazing, but you can still go back and play it and experience it if you want at your own leisure. And there, like, I there's part of me that wants to praise D1 for its completeness, and I know it's because it's old and they've moved on from it and effectively abandoned it. Like, but it is still a complete experience, and I still think, like, if you haven't played it and it goes on sale for $20, for the love of God, play it and experience it. Yes, it's locked at 30 frames. And I would, that's like the one thing, I know people want like a PC port. We're never going to get a PC port of D1, but I know it would take development time, but I would love it if they went back and unlocked frame rate for D1 on like PS5 and Series X. Like, that would be an incredible... I think you would actually legitimately have people go flock back to D1 if you could play it at 60 frames. But there's wishing and, how that goes.
If we're talking about Beyond Light and we're talking about any retrospective about everything, a pretty notable moment in our personal history, season
true.
of the Splicer was when Eventide Radio started.
That's fair.
Hey.
Yeah. So there was that. We had that going for us. Our humble beginnings.
That wasn't no good memories there. No, I'm
Eventide Radio, our namesake, right there.
I remember my friend who had played PvP with me in Destiny for like since I had met him around Taken King. And he saw Stasis in the trailers, went, that's going to be terrible. Went into one match. Didn't get Beyond Light, but went into one match of PvP. It was on Endless Vale, got frozen twice in a row, and just turned the game off and uninstalled it. He's like, is Stasis bad? I'm like, yeah. He's like, is it a problem in PvP? I'm like, no, it's terrible. Like, no one really uses it apart from like a few people who free stack Titans in trials and wall themselves in a corner somewhere.
Right.
But no one fucking uses Stasis, really. And I've rarely get... Like, I said to him, I can count on one hand, how many times I've been frozen in PvP in, like, the last 6 months.
Right.
But he still won't probably play the game.
Just because he's afraid. He's got PTSD from the whole...
I think also it's a lot of money to play the game if you wanted to get into it.
Yeah.
He wants dedicated servers. I was like, yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah.
That's just not happening.
Yeah, no, it's not.
It's going to Marathon.
Unfortunately.
Marathon though, yeah, Marathon.
Yeah. So yeah,
I would like to get invited to the closed beta for that. I would like to try that.
That would be neat. I wouldn't mind that either. So that brings us up to Beyond Light, and then Witch Queen and what came after Lightfall. Wow. Witch Queen, Lightfall, and then Final Shape. It's all pretty recent,
Right.
and
I
we've been
mean,
going for
I wasn't that excited for Witch Queen.
really.
Yeah, I just was like I was like, oh, more Destiny, but I wasn't like hyped as I'd been for other expansions to play it. Like on the, I mean, I was, yeah.
And then it turned out to be some, right?
I didn't think it was that amazing. I
What?
like the story. I like the story and the experience of the campaign. That was really cool. But then
The post game wasn't.
Vow is one of my favorite raids, but the setting didn't do it for me.
Yeah, they hyped up the location quite a bit.
I feel like parts of it are underused and parts of it are overused. Like, I liked the inside areas of the castle, you know, like aesthetic,
Right.
Hive Castle. But the outside areas where it's just the floor of it and a few like towers, I think that's quite boring. I would have liked it if it had been more like the Dreadnought, in the sense of the Hive parts are all inside. And I know they are in a lot of the story missions, but say in Patrol, they're not utilised like that. They're off shunted to the side, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that was when like weapon crafting, and I still haven't crafted any of the guns other than like the one they give you from what was that activity on the Throne World?
Oh shit.
Right. Well, I've got like the
That
one
one.
they give. You know the weapon they give you to craft,
Oh,
not the
yeah,
glaive.
the Enigma?
It's like the
Yeah.
sidearm, or not the not the.
No, the something.
No, the glaive is
evidence,
called the
right?
Enigma.
Yeah, the glaive is the Enigma, but then there was the other thing they give you.
It's like a sidearm.
It
or
was a
something.
sidearm. What was it called? Something evidence.
Oh, empirical evidence.
The Throne World. Yeah,
Empirical
the Throne
evidence.
World sidearm. I have that crafted. I have not crafted any of the other Throne World guns.
Have you crafted any other guns?
Yes, I've crafted loads of guns.
Oh, okay.
Just not those.
So I thought at first what you meant was that you haven't crafted.
No.
anything,
I'm
because
saying
I was
like
wow.
No. I'm saying like those guns and what they were just did not interest me at all. I know you can get field prep on the GL, which procs when it's stowed. But which is fine for is it field prep? No, not field prep. What's that perk that activates when you get low health? I think you like reload your gun a bit.
Pulse monitor? I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think you can get. I think it's pulse monitor on the GL, which procs when it's stowed, so you can run that in PvP as like a slight bonus. But I can't be bothered to. But yeah, no, that part of Witch Queen just didn't interest me at all.
That's fair.
Yeah, me neither. But the
I love the raid. The raid. Oh yeah, the campaign was amazing, and the raid was very good. That I enjoyed.
Yeah.
But all the other side bits, I was just like I didn't care for. And the Season of the Risen, I didn't like.
Season of the Risen.
Well, I mean, every launch season is always kind of lackluster, right? And it pales in comparison to kind of what gets fleshed out throughout the rest. But
Yeah, but Black Armory was the best thing to come out of Destiny.
yeah, sure it was.
I had a Destiny meme page during that time.
Oh God,
Did you?
I did.
Where are the memes? Send them here and I'll post them on Twitter.
Oh, they're not funny. They're old.
Oh.
Humor doesn't age very well,
I disagree.
especially internet humor.
Well, internet humor is timeless.
No,
How dare
it's
you?
Fine wine. Fine wine. You're sitting there still watching fucking Nyan Cat videos. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that name in ages. Damn. All right, I mean, we could go into. I think we could probably cut it off here before we get into Lightfall territory, and then.
Yeah, Lightfall.
I
Again,
go
we're
on-
trying to
I
not
go
be
on a
negative,
tirade.
so we'll avoid
Right, I
Lightfall.
mean, it's been
Yeah.
10 years. Right, what are some notable random moments you've had from playing the game?
I got one.
Random shit with friends.
Go for
I
it.
got one. I probably told this to you guys already, but it's one of my favorite stories, so I'll share it again in case some audience members haven't heard it. We were playing Leviathan, and there were 5 of us, and we needed a 6th guy, so we pulled some random guy off LFG, and he wasn't really talking for like the first, like the Castellum area where you just kind of like kill stuff, and we were just the the other 5 of us were all just like screwing around. It was like 3 a.m. and that's when we all lost our minds already. So we were just saying like absurd,
I get why he was being quiet.
yeah, absurd like degenerate things. And eventually, the first thing he says is he's talking to my buddy Parker. I'll just call him out, and he's like, Parker, I've known you for about 5 minutes, and I already have a very low opinion of you.
Oh my gosh.
It was pretty funny.
That's great.
It's one of my favorite quotes. But yeah, there's a lot of moments like that where we've raided together and just the stupidest.
Destiny is the friends we made along the way.
You know what it is? That as much as that meme has been stated, it's a true statement. What's yours, Map?
It is a true statement.
That should be the tag for this. No. I mean, I've met a lot of friends. I've met Sam and Luke. Luke I still know. He visited mine. I met him through Destiny. He literally visited mine the other week. Some of my friends from school, Jamie. I then met David. He doesn't play anymore. He's the one who quit with Stasis. Don't blame him. Who else? Oh well, two of my friends, T. I met, and his friend Breezy. I met doing King's Fall. We joined I joined like an LFG team. Everyone in there was very serious, but us three. So we were at like Oryx, being idiots, getting it done. Like we could piss around but get stuff done. Like we used to play Trials in D1 non-stop, and it did bring out bad habits in me playing PvP where I was unable to give call-outs at all for a while because I was so used to us just pissing around. Right. We'd still go flawless, but we'd just be pissing around like in Trials and do very well. Yeah, like just fun random shit like that, like dumb things where we're just sitting there playing Destiny, crying, laughing because of something stupid that happened or something that someone said.
Right.
Quoting Michael Rosen and things like that. If anyone knows who Michael Rosen is.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, yeah, and then with D2 I had a lot of friends who I played Overwatch with. They came and played Destiny 2, so that at the start that was cool. So we went into Leviathan like as 2 teams of 6 in like a party trying to figure it out. That was cool. And then Forsaken people sort of dropped off more so. And then I remember in lockdown, my friend David and Jamie, they came back to Destiny because they hadn't really been playing it. So in lockdown, that was season of Worthy. People didn't like that, but it was lockdown, like peak of COVID, the start of 2020 lockdown. It was insane. We'd just get up, play Destiny 2, go to bed. That was life.
Yeah.
Which I did enjoy that. Playing way too much Trials. And then I met Harry and Cal and then Scott, who I'm still friends with now. But yeah, no, I've met a lot of people I still know to this day. Like my friend T, he works in London, and me and Jamie and Luke met up with him. I mean, I've gone on holiday with him, and yeah, we all hang out, and it is cool. Like these people that I've met on this game who I would never have normally have met at all in life, and I know that's a lot of people have that experience now with gaming and things like that.
Right.
But I feel like Destiny is one of those ones that definitely has those connections with people from raiding and Trials and things like that. You make like lifelong friends, which I think is very important.
Definitely.
Yeah. 100%. What about you, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, I probably the friends I've made along the way. I definitely, for a while, I was part of this one clan. This was right. Oh, this was before Beyond Light came out. Yeah, because that's right. That's what it was. Is before Beyond Light came out, I was getting a lot more involved with my clan, and we knew all this stuff was getting vaulted, and so I made this big spreadsheet and linked it in there and was like, okay, here's everything that's leaving when Beyond Light, this is like 2 or 3 months before Beyond Light came out. Here's everything that's leaving. Put your name on here if there's something you need to do or get or finish, like, oh, I want to do the Whisper Catalyst because I haven't done it yet, like, and put it on here. That way we can all help each other get it all done. And I got like a ton of praise from like, because I had kind of like found the clan through like LFG or something like that, and like, so I started getting more and more involved with the clan, and we were doing trials, and it was really fun. And that was where I got my first flawless, was like with them. And so I was trying to be more of like helpful to the group, even though I was kind of one of the outsiders, because they were all kind of a tight-knit group. And just suddenly out of nowhere, 2 of the guys got into it, and someone said something on a message like late at night, and that caused like half of the clan to just leave in the span of like 20 minutes. And so it just so it just completely debilitated the whole clan. And the few guys that were left like asked if I wanted to be an admin to the clan, because it was like, well, you've shown that you've been involved and are trying to be helpful. And one of the guys messaged me and was like, hey, do you want it, like, you know? And then I was like, first of all, I was like, what the hell happened? And it was like 2 of the guys were being like,
some people said some gamer words.
Yeah, exactly. 2 of the guys were being like super childish and just, you know, kind of, it was really unfortunate. But then he's like, do you want to be an admin? I was like, nah. So then I left the clan, because it was like, I just didn't want to be part of it anymore, because the people that were kind of still a part of it were more of the toxic ones anyway. So then I joined this other clan during kind of like when Beyond Light came out and Deepstone Crypt, and I was kind of running it with them, and they started having like a rifting feud where like a couple of them were like super toxic and pissed off and angry, and I was like, well, I don't want to be like, I was so tired of like, I play video games because I don't want to deal with like drama. Like, I deal with enough of that at like work. I wanted just to like hang out and play video games with people. And so I left that clan. And by this time, Vault of Glass had come out, and I was trying to get the title, but I was having a hard time because I didn't have like a consistent raid team. And so I was trying to get one of the challenges, or 2 or 3 of the challenges, done in one night. And it wasn't like the actual challenges. It was like the other ones that are listed where it's like, oh, complete the confluxes without without shooting any of the hobgoblins on the side or whatever like that. And I found this LFG team. They needed a 6th person, and they were like incredibly funny, and they were like a really, really tight group and making a bunch of jokes. And about halfway through, they were like, one of them made some comment about Carl Weezer, and I was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, and so they had a playlist. This is when you could still play music on Discord. And it was all these like pop songs that were sung by Carl Weezer from Jimmy Neutron. And so we're trying to do challenges on a raid where you're trying to be somewhat like serious and playing. And I'm in tears laughing so hard. It's like 2 a.m. Like, I cannot believe just how ridiculous and absurd and funny it is. And these are like the coolest guys. And like, before I knew it, we'd actually completed the raid and all the challenges while somehow keeping my composure, because Carl Weezer's like, you know, singing like The Weeknd and shit. And it was just like, it was the most fun I had had in Destiny in like years. And they invited me to the clan, and that's the clan that I'm in like to this day, and we still talk about when I met them and that raid that we did, because what had happened is they posted on LFG, and they posted a Discord link. And so I joined the Discord, jumped in the call, but someone else joined the actual fire team. And they were like, well, since you actually joined Discord first, because they wanted someone to join Discord so they could kind of vet the person before they had them actually join the raid. Because, you know, they wanted to make sure I had a mic and that I could speak clearly and communicate. And they're like, so they kicked the other guy, and they're like, that's the best decision we've ever made to keep you instead of him. And so like, and those like, that was where I met like Nam and Mitch and all of those guys. And like, to this day, I still play with them heavily. And it was, and it was funny because for the longest time, the guy who joined, his gamer tag was just Tim. And so like, so for the longest time, they all jokingly called me not Tim, because I was the one that they chose to join. So it was like this kind of like long running inside joke where it was like, hey, it's not Tim. So I've been playing with them since VOG came back, so shortly after Beyond Light came out. Never looked back. They're some of the coolest guys, and there's a little bit of drama within the group, but they handle it way more kind of professionally and don't let it be this whole thing. So I really, really like the group that I'm in. And, that's my
that's awesome.
Story. It took a long time to find my family, so to speak, but they're a cool team.
You got there.
Yeah.
You said staying up late, and I remembered Season of the Worthy when they first did, the Flawless Seal.
Yeah.
I wanted it. Obviously, I played Trials way too much, but one of the challenges I wasn't doing just because I couldn't be bothered, and then on the last weekend I realised I needed to do it for the seal.
Sure.
Which was the wins past your Flawless on a card, so you couldn't. If you got a flawed card, you then couldn't do it, obviously, because it had the losses on it, so it would cancel your card out. You had to reset it completely. So I stayed up the night before reset, doing trials on LFG the whole night till reset, trying to do. I did finish it. I bought the fucking seal off the Bungie store, but I stayed up from the Monday night all the way up until it would have been I don't know what time it was, a stupid hour in the morning,
sure.
9 in the morning, still trying to do what I did finish it doing, wins post Flawless. Because it was sweaty as fuck. It was the last weekend. I think it was endless fail.
All right, I think that's a good spot to close it out for now.
Me quitting Trials?
Yeah.
For the foreseeable future. Bungie, do something. The population is so low. Happy days, 10 years.
It's dwindling. Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
No,
thank you guys.
Hopefully,
we're happy. 10 years of Destiny.
Yeah, hopefully this was fun and everyone got an opportunity to kind of go down memory lane, be nostalgic. There's so much negativity right now, and it's trying to be.
I'm looking forward to the very small anniversary event.
Yes, whatever that is, I'm looking forward to it.
That was leaked, not leaked.
Whatever it entails, we're happy to be a part of it.
Yep.
Happy to celebrate the game and all.
And I'm in the theory of the Into the Light was supposed to be for the 10th anniversary, but they had to put it forward.
Oh, I had not thought about that, but I could totally see that and believe it.
100%. I think because of the guns that it is.
Yeah.
That they had to put it forward.
That explains also why they had Elsie's rifle as well, right? Because that would have been kind of more of a D1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that, and they brought it out early because they needed to stall for time anyway, and so.
Sure.
I had not thought about that, but yeah, I believe that 100%.
So thank you guys.
That armor though.
Yeah.
Much appreciate you guys going down memory lane with me.
Yes.
Both to you guys and the audience as well. If you guys want to listen to more of our more recent stuff, take a look wherever you listen to your podcasts. Rob is streaming D1, and
I'll probably be doing
we'll
more
take
today.
you through. We'll take you through RAF. We'll take you through RAF at some point. I'll have to re-download it, but some people in the clan were very interested in doing.
I would love to. I think that would be a blast. So come check us out, and without further ado, see you guys next time.
Bye.
You can put this voice recording away and go on with your life, because you and I both know you'd have me yapping in your ear for the rest of your days.
Want to further the discussion? Get in touch with us at any of our Twitter handles, all of which can be found at our podcast description.